Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Otaku. Today we are talking about an anime called Another. This is an anime that I found on Crunchyroll. I'd seen the main character of it, and I was like, this actually looks pretty cool. Little cliche with the whole eye patch thing, but it looked interesting. Walking into it, I didn't quite think it was going to be quite a horror anime. I thought it might have been a suspense anime, but in the end of things, it kind of turned into a horror anime-esque. If you have not watched the entire series, you should probably stop this episode right now. Go ahead, go watch the series, and then come back, because there will be spoilers. There will be plenty of spoilers. So we're going to start off by saying that the main character, who is a student who transferred in from Tokyo. I'm horrible with names, so forgive me on this, but yeah. His name in the anime ended up meaning death, and not just death, but gruesome, horrible death. And the premise of the anime is that there is this curse. And what it does is it goes through each school year, and this particular class is affected by it. And there's this girl that has the eye patch, like I said earlier. I can't think of her name either, unfortunately. Like I said, horrible with names. I love anime, horrible with names. Masaki, I want to say. I'm not sure. Anywho. So girl with eye patch is kind of like that random creepy girl that the main character had met in the hospital. He got out of the hospital and was just met her in the elevator. She just showed up and she was like, hi. Yeah. Uh-huh. And she's holding this random doll. And so, the main character at this point, I don't know why people and animes are suddenly obsessed with these characters that they first meet. Because, well, she's really creepy, and she's heading down to, where the dead bodies are kept in the hospital. Come on, people. Come on. Really? So yeah, he ends up seeing her again in school, in his class, in the cursed class. And so he decides that he's going to make friends with her. And a lot of people don't kind of acknowledge her and pretend that she doesn't exist. And again, this is a premise of the anime and it's a thing. And essentially what happens is there's a curse and people start dying. And because of this curse. And so what they end up doing is that they push one person aside in the class that is essentially the ghost. Okay. And they pretend they don't exist. So they're still part of the class, and they're still there, but all the students just kind of go, you know what? You no longer exist to us. Do you hear the wind? Because I hear the wind. And essentially what ends up happening throughout this anime is the main character and this girl with the eye patch get close, and they start bonding. And they kind of tell you the story that this whole curse and someone in the class is actually an extra, and how they're dead, and that this whole curse on the classroom invites the dead to come join and take part in school. I don't understand why they would be upset with this, well, minus the deaths, because, I mean, education's good, right? Even if the dead are taking part. So, something that's hinted at towards the entire series is the fact this kid has no memory about a year and a half ago of a scenario where him and a fellow classmate have met by the fact that he gets hit in the head with a can that she threw while being upset that someone died. Okay, if you get hit in the head with a can, I probably would have been okay, whatever. And I would, yeah. So, this is one of those animes where, sitting and watching it, I did get very engaged with it because I always wanted to kind of figure out what was going on, who's alive, who's dead. I kind of figured the girl with the eye patch was the one who was dead the entire time because at one point they're in a doll shop and the owner kind of goes, "We have no customers here." And then the girl shows up, and then the girl is talking about one of these dolls being a replica of, like, someone she knew. So I'm like, okay, so maybe she's the ghost. And then later on you find out that the reason that the woman behind the counter said that there are no customers is because the girl with the eye patch lived there. Well, that kind of makes sense, okay? That kind of makes sense. So, they're trying to figure out this entire time who's the dead person, and for some reason they find a tape from like 15 years ago that was a fellow student in this class that had figured out a way to break the curse. And what ends up happening was they play this tape and you find out that there is one person that's supposed to be dead, and the way to break the curse is to kill the person who's dead. Right. So the person who's dead doesn't know that they're dead, which causes this whole big fiasco and why most students kind of go mad and end up dying. And I don't understand why there's a curse of this, because, well, it just random people die, kind of like Final Destination. Literally, it's kind of like a Final Destination movie. There's no explanation for it. So, as the series continues, and as we start developing that we're trying to figure out, like, who is this dead person? All the students are going mad. Because the tape has been played, and all the students are saying that the girl with the eye patch is dead, that the kid that was supposed to then be one of the non-existent because he started talking to her, and then the whole class kind of shunned the both of them, and said, you two are now the non-existent people. That's bright. So they start like, oh, well, the two of you are together, so either one of you are dead. And then it just turns into a mass killing spree in the end of the anime. And then you find out this entire time... I hate when shows and animes do this. I really, really hate it, because it's one of those situations of, if you would have done this sooner, we would not have had a series. So we find out that the reason the girl has an eye patch is because she has a glass eye underneath of it. Don't really know how she lost that eye, except for, like, surgery and blah blah blah, and she now has a glass eye, one of the dolls. Well, apparently that glass eye allows her to see the dead person, because there's this color that's not really a color who's the color of death that this girl sees on this person who's dead. So, if this was the case situation, why wouldn't she take the eye patch off while at school and just go, hey, you're the dead one. Okay, we're just gonna, kill you. No, it took the entire anime, the 12 episodes, to then get to the end plot of the things to find out that it wasn't really a student who was dead. Now, there were hints throughout the entire anime that hinted towards this, like, for example, the main character's grandfather saying that this person was dead, poor whoever, and poor this person. So, I mean, obviously there's one thing that says, hey, if you would have paid attention and figured out that's her name, and that's who's dead, well. But again, one of those situations where if she would have just looked with her glass eye. So, I kind of give it, like, a case situation where it's an 8 out of 10 for me, because it kept me thinking, and it kept me, like, engaged into what was going on next, no matter if it was killing or not. So, I mean, there was just randomly killing for several episodes. Like, let's go to the beach! Death. Let's, go away and have fun, and death. Let's go to this resort! Even more death. So it was kind of like, okay, great, have fun. But yeah, it definitely ended up turning into like a Sherlock Holmes novel for me, trying to figure out, well, that person really did this, and that person did that, and according to, like, the legend of the curse, that there's one person from every class every year, well, from that class every year, that when they die, they just they were written down as the deceased, and all their existence is just kind of poof. Like everyone just forgets about them. So if everyone forgets about what's going on, then how do we have a curse? Nah. But anyhow, so it was definitely an interesting anime. A couple episodes that I just kind of like skimmed through. In other words, I was doing something else while watching them, and then went, okay, so that's what happened. Situation. And again, wasn't half bad. A little depressing. A little just kind of like, okay. So, guessing game. Not bad. But, all in all, it was decent. I didn't, like I said, I finished it probably within the last 2-3 days. And I would think I would recommend it to people. And given the fact that there's these little clues and these little hints of what was going on, it kind of has a little bit of a replay value on it. Or a rewatch value on it. And, yeah, it's not bad. It really isn't. So, hopefully, this summary and this review of Another has helped you out, or given you a little bit of a, do I really want to watch this anime kind of feel to it. So, I shall see you guys later. Bye-bye.